plants be calling out to me. They be like, water me, Cliff, water me. It's cold and water. What it do, what it do. Welcome back. Welcome to Playing Around on this live. Playing around on this live. I hope we live. Playing around on this live. I hope we live. This shit almost need a whole production team. You know what I'm talking about? A whole production team.
Get the papers, pinch it, chop it, break it. Don't do nothing if it's shaky, but drop the stuff and roll it, wet it, close it. Let's put the heat off in the ozone.
And that DJ.
It's cold and water.
In here DJing, man. Just waiting on the head. Waiting on the head to pop up. And my brother mad at me. If me and my brother wasn't beefing, I ain't gonna call it beef. Me and my brother wasn't no bad terms, he'll be here. But that's another story, you hear me? What y'all talking about, man? Jay, where you at? Jay, where you at? Cuz, where you at? Louisiana lawmakers, man. Y'all know we had a chance for Louisiana lawmakers to push forward a tax plan for the good old plant for the day it do become legal. We had a chance to come up with a tax plan for the day it does become legal. Nah, you would think the state want to progress, man. You would think, like, what do we have to lose just by having something in place on paper saying once the day come, this what we gonna do. Once the day come, this what we gonna do with the legalization. You know what I'm saying? So basically a bill passed through the state of Louisiana that would have established a tax system. And this tax system would have prepared them for the eventual legalization of a adult use magic plan. You know what I'm saying? You know, had the committee, well, the committee had its initial hearing on Tuesday, and the members rejected the plan. They voted 8-7 against the bill. They voted 8 against, 7 for. So it's really like it got 7 people with a brain. You know what I'm saying? They got at least 7 people with a brain. And you got the bill HB 636. I guess the HB is House Bill 636, sponsored by Representative Jordan. And it failed amongst party lines. It failed amongst party lines, meaning people can't do what's best for the people. They got to do what's best for themselves. You get what I'm saying? It's like all this red, blue. You know what I'm saying? All this red, blue, red, blue. I'm not voting for the people. I'm voting either red or blue. So basically, everybody not fighting for the people. Nobody really just sticking their head out, because at the end of the day, once you stick your head out, the rest of your party gonna be looking at you and ready to snake you and cutthroat you. I hope I can say that word on here. Ready to snake you and CT you just on the strength of you going against the grain. Now, I'm gonna read a quote from the Marijuana Moment. Say, we can get into a long debate on whether cannabis should. I'd have said the plant name, man. Look, we can get into a long debate on whether the magical plant should or should be legal or illegal. That's not the purpose of this bill. That's what Jordan told committee members at the hearing. The purpose of this bill is simply to say that if, in the event that it is legalized, that we have a taxing mechanism in place. Now that's logical, you know. That's logical. That's the brain working. That's somebody with good sense trying to make something happen. And they saying the proposed retail tax on marijuana will be based. I done said the other word, man. Look, we getting flagged. We getting flagged. You know what I'm saying? You know, stuff like this don't go on random people feeds. You get what I'm saying? Stuff like this don't go on random people feed. When you putting it out there, you talking about something that could possibly be viewed as illicit. It could be viewed as illicit. All right. Let me just check on, you know, I'm new to this live stuff. Let me make sure this mic on. All right, the mic on. All right, so the proposed retail tax on the magical plant will be based on weight, with products taxed at 15% of the average market price for the magical plant, which would be determined by state officials. Medical magical plant, meanwhile, would be exempt from the new tax. All right, man. It's not a bad bill. See a lot of people was at like 10%, and a lot of states was at like 10% and 12.5%. And the 15%, you know, they felt like they was busting their head. So I'm surprised Louisiana was even smart enough to shoot for like just a 15. Like that's that's close to the national average if you ask me from what I've been seeing. But you can check for yourself. But tax that 15%. Man, I'm surprised a state like this ain't try to go for 20, 25, just, you know, just because it's a state of greed and people don't really make decisions for the people. They come to all, you know, the churches, and they come to your neighborhoods, and they come to your schools when they need you to go to that ballot and press that button. But when it come down to everything after you to press that button, you know, they turn on you. They turn on you. All right. So speaking as support of the bill on Tuesday's hearing was Caldwell. All right, Kevin Caldwell. I'll say your whole name since you speaking on support. Southeast Legislative Manager for the advocacy group, the Magical Plant Policy Project. And y'all know I substituted the other M for the Magical Plant. So it really was, you know, the standard word associated with the Magical Plant Policy Project, MPP. He told members that the tax scheme would bring in an estimated 45 million in state revenue during the first year of legal sales. So you see, they projecting, they coming up with numbers, they figuring stuff out. They really on the grind, being logical and having foresight and having a good old magical foresight. All right, over a similar timeline, he said illicit magical plant sellers would be expected to fall from 100% market share to 25% market share. So basically what they're saying is All this stuff y'all getting from these Chinese cartels that don't care nothing about Americans who wouldn't lose sleep if all of them disappear off the face of the earth. You got these cats on the other coast mass producing can the magical plant for money gains. For money gains. So if a crop was to be bad, if a crop was to have to be chopped early and you know the magic juice wasn't properly developed within those golden globes, them glass globes, if you know what I'm talking about, you caught that. The magical juice inside of the glass globes, the shiny stuff, something like crystals if you look at it. So we on that. Let's say the magical juice in the shiny glass globes wasn't fully developed and they had to take it early. And by you not caring nothing about the soil you on or the people that's on it, what's stopping you from spraying this stuff with a synthetic up? You know what I'm saying? When you look at the sky, you think high, you know what I'm saying? A synthetic sky. You get what I'm saying? So now you got a synthetic sky. So for one, I feel that stuff on the street being let to run rampant like that, just so people could have bad experiences like trip outs and overexposure to pesticides because like I say, if the grower don't care about the consumer, and this generation I notice when they sell illicit things, they really don't care about the consumer. You know what I'm saying? The generations of past had like integrity and morals, even when you'll call them the lords of the lords, the slime balls of the community or the world or whatever you would want to call them, they had integrity at the very least on average. Now, the people selling illicit things from this generation that's playing with the game right now, I say, mid-teens to 25, 30, they principles different. You get what I'm saying? And if you ask me, that's who will be controlling most of the game outside of higher rank criminal organizations. But long story short, they say illicit magical plant sellers will be expected to fall from 100% to 25%. So when it falls from 100% to 25%, what happens when it's going to be a ghost percentage still, So you would think 25, that leave 75 for the industries and stuff. But few and some and many is going to choose to cultivate their own, and the cultivator is going to chunk out the other percentage. So that's when you probably going to see greed on these last 26 states, 25 states that haven't went recreational legal. I don't even think they saying the word recreational no more. I think they calling it adult use around the world. So that show you how far behind a lot of these prohibition states is. They missing all type of loopholes. But I feel they caught that loophole with the farm hemp bill. They did catch that loophole where long as it's not Delta 9, THC, long as it's not Delta 9, it's practically legal. Long as it's not 0.03% or 0.3% Delta 9, all that other stuff flew under the radar and on the shelves. But then you see the state of Louisiana still they playing against it, but they're not playing for it. It's like states around the world they started charging people with DUI, driving under influence. They call it under influence. Now back in my day where I come from, the only dangerous thing about toking the magical plant and driving was that part where you use your knee to control the steering wheel while you rolled up. That's practically the most compared, not even compared to drunk driving, because they in a whole different stratosphere. But the most dangerous part, to my knowledge, back in the days was when you just use your knee while you were rolling a J or rolling a Bleezy, you know what I'm saying? So, but other states they made it to where, all right, oh, you loaded, oh, that's a DUI. They trying to put it equivalent to almost under the on alcohol, but here's the catch 22. The state of Louisiana ain't want to pass it. They don't want to pass nothing for it, but they trying to stay on top of all the laws that's against. You can't enact laws that was put in place for something you legalize. The other states put laws in place after they legalized the benefit. And now you could pass up on the tax bill trying to look forward with foresight, but you see what they're using their foresight for. Instead of putting together a tax bill in advance, they won't do that. They'll put in a DUI. So now I'm hearing commercials down here saying blunted driving the same as drunk driving. You know what I'm saying? They ready to enforce somebody being loaded while for token, but they not ready to at least let the people toke. Now how that go? And then like I say, we, the state is staying ahead of the game with the everything that's against. So now they made the law where even if it's THCA and flower like that, it can't really be sold at the gas station no more. Where they sell gas, that's what they put in the law. So laws being created against, but nothing created for. So we left off on the illicit magical plant sellers would be expected to fall from 100% market share to 25% market share. So I like dude, man. He coming with them numbers, and that's Kevin Caldwell, man. He got some foresight, man. He trying to make sure we on point down here in that boot. And it says as far as opponents at the panel here, this cat named Hall. If we don't like him or we don't agree with him, we gonna call him by their last name. This cat named Hall, the director of the Louisiana Baptist Conference Public Policy Office, claimed magical plant legalization could harm the state by fueling crime, human trafficking, and youth mental health problems, as well as putting veterans at risk. All right, so let's go through this. We're gonna treat this man like a human, and we're gonna treat this man like he got a good heart, and we're gonna treat this man like he ain't got no ill will or bad intentions in his body. We're gonna treat this man like some people really, really believe in him somewhere. I'm almost treating him like an elected official, but he's not even that. But we're gonna give him the ultimate respect. He says the magical plant legalization could harm the state by fueling crime, human trafficking, and youth mental health problems, as well as putting veterans at risk. Veterans wouldn't jump in front of a whole bullet, wouldn't jump front a whole tank, a whole tank with whatever kind of ammunition they got inside of them. Hope that word right there ain't suspicious to the magical. I can't call them the magical, but to the great YouTube. But these veterans don't went and jump in front of a whole cannon. And you talking about putting the veterans at risk if they choose that. But for you to say that, you will have to talk about all the stuff that's sold behind the counter and on the counter that veterans put in their body, and they call it something medicinal. So you can't really use putting veterans at risk if they feel that's the best thing for whatever ailment they have, compared to the stuff that you will be okay with them taking, which is which comes with a list of side effects so long where when you look at the side effects that they talking about, you just be like what, what the, you know what I'm saying? Like who want to risk all that to stop this, man? Y'all gotta find me a better alternative. So we still breaking down his same words, but we going backwards. He say, and youth mental health problems. For one, how do you got their hands on it? Because if it's the same way I always knew, legalization won't change whether they got their hands on it or whether they didn't. Legalization won't change whether they got their hands on it or whether they didn't, because the ones that's gonna get their hands on it gonna get their hands on it, and the ones that ain't. And that's basically how I feel about that. But we still gonna go into it a little bit more. All right, you say you mental health problem. Is you saying, or are you saying that by it being sold by you, what it's gonna be in harm, like in harm's way, like the kids gonna be in harm's way, as in they gonna get they hands on some gummies, they gonna get their hands on a J. So here's my thing with that. That good booze is sold everywhere, every corner. The good booze is sold everywhere. And that stuff y'all put in those white papers and put tobacco in it and call it a cig, they sold everywhere. Cigs, tobacco, and the good booze can cause mental health problems. And let's not act like these things that's been sold over the shelf for decades to hundreds of years, let's not act like these things are kept in the safe. And mostly every child probably can tell you they took a shot of alcohol. Your dad probably had some Crown Royal in that cabinet, and your little mischievous self, your little mischievous butt went in over there in that cabinet and hit the alcohol. All right. So whether a recreational, you might as well call it a DRU, and put a couple G's behind it. You might as well call it that, even though it's sold over the shelf, but it been in these people's homes and they been as accessible to the youth. So it's all about the responsibility of the parent, and that's what it's gonna come down to if you talking about kids getting access to it just because they parent have it. Human trafficking. Now, to you, it might sound the same way it sounded to me at first. Human trafficking, man. Now you just putting salt. You putting so much sauce on it to where you can't hide that you putting the sauce on it. So then I did the math. I did a little more research, and they say that because Hispanic workers be working a lot of those cannabis farms, and foreigners be working a lot of those cannabis farms. So they saying that because you got a farm with cannabis, it's gonna create more illegal workers and human traffickers to form these forms. But at the end of the day, you got to say that about all forms then, because as long as it's a form being formed, they gonna be bringing in some cheap labor. So unless all forms about to be stopped, you can't say legalization of cannabis even mean that. So we done debunked the veterans part of his statement, the youth mental health part, the human trafficking part, and now we get to the about fueling crime. Let's picture a world. Let's picture a world that don't exist right quick. See, we're gonna picture a world where the magical plant is legal, right? If you want to go shop the store, you can shop the store. If you got you a few plants that can get you through, at least half the year, almost to next season, because that's what a crop's supposed to be. That you're supposed to allow a farmer or a man to have enough whatever they harvested to make it to the next season. You see the indoor, don't get the indoor stuff twisted, because at the end of the day, outdoor is once a year, and you have enough to make it to the next season. So that's just a push for even when it's legal. See, I'm trying to have foresight, so even when it's legal, before they try to minimize the amount you could have, man, you better out finding the median against the 24 states that got ahead of you. Just find the median. You ain't gotta go low balling this or high balling that. Find the medium, however much tax, however much the education, however much go to education, however many mature plants you could have, however many immature plants you could have, however many clones, like just find the average, however much you could possess on just period, however much you could possess on person. It's just it don't take a rocket scientist. So and they supposed to be smarter than us, right? That's why we elect them to represent us, because we feel they can get the job done on our behalf, because they smarter than us. You get what I'm saying? So this is just small foresight. Just get the overall. Don't just sit there and try to look at everything that went wrong with legalization and try to point at what went wrong, like that's the standard now. You know what I'm saying? Let's not try to point out like, you see that happen. You seen that happen. You seen that happen. Let's look at what happened that was good. You get what I'm saying? Because it's happening. So we might as well be prepared for the transition. And if a citizen could be this prepared, why can't the elected officials? So he called Cali and described it as, well, which is described as one of the leading states in the magical plant, a complete failure, and asserted that in Oregon, say illegal growers will go down to the border and get illegals and bring them up and basically enslave them on their grows. What? Say basically enslave them on their grows. So just the cannabis farmers doing this. It ain't no corn, it ain't no apple orchards, it ain't no orchards doing it. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Just they saying that's what's gonna happen just with strictly with the cannabis. But we already debunked that. But we still can hang around on that fuel and crime, because we moving on, but he's saying fuel and crime. I don't see it changing. I don't like how you have to be more specific than just trying to scare us with words. You know what I'm saying? Fuel and crime, how? What's gonna happen? I'm trying to see, cause that's stuff that's floating right now on the street. with all that spray cause more psychosis than anything. It's gonna cause more neurological damage than anything. And one day, I hate to say it because I'm basically claiming it, but it's already claimed, it's already in the universe. But in a few years, I don't know how long, 10, 20, the data gonna come and we're gonna find out exactly, or the world gonna find out if we blessed to still be here, we're gonna find out the true effects of what that stuff floating on the street, that cheap stuff, bro. When I say floating on the street, bro, it's like this, man. If you call one guy, and this one is I wanted it's a skit I gotta do because before I even create a channel, I want to do this skit to enact this what's going on. But man, you got this one guy, right? You call him. He said, I got this P going for 15, this P going for 12, this P going for 1,000, this P going for 8, this P going for 5, this P going for 4, this P going for 3. It's like when I say the stuff on the street, it's because the same generation that I say responsible for a lot of the illicit supply, you know what I'm saying? It's the same guys responsible for a lot of the illicit supply. And if that integrity is in question, then they gonna make greedy decisions without thought of the consumer. So it's like that. It's that 300 stuff, man. It's like that 300, 400, $400 piece probably was CVV or something. TACV. They ain't tripping on moving because TAC, the true TAC in it is minus 0.3. So they sending spray packs. They don't care, man. It's sending you a spray pack, synthetic magical plant on it. And then they crossing their T's and dotting their I's, because even if it get hit on its way to you, when they test it, I ain't got no THC in it because it's synthetic. But I don't know how I got back on that. But when I started taking my toke breaks, it was because the only option was that on the street. And I was like, man, if somebody ain't tell me they grew this in their basement, or if it ain't come from a medical facility, I don't want it. And I told y'all earlier, I think that's how it's being set up to be. They letting that stuff on the street just be so rogue and whatever. It's coming in so easy, so hard, whatever. So they letting that stuff on the street be as bad as it can be and as sprayed as it could be to send you running to a dispensary. And your only out other than that to be safe is to grow your own. Your only route to be safe is to grow your own. You know what I'm saying? So the facility, and I can't say the facility could be bad, but of course it could be bad. But the testing on that stuff so hard to where by the time it make it to the consumer, man, it ain't the flower it'll be if you would have grew it yourself, dried it yourself, cured it yourself. You know what I'm saying? So we get back to the article. Well, I thought I had a water, man. Where my water? Oh, way across there. We get back to the article after I get this water. Yeah, man, my bad. I say that the first live, so you know something rookie had to happen. We can't do a first something and then something rookie don't happen. So let's get back to the article. It say asked by committee member Landry about evidence showing that people sometimes substitute the magical plant for alcohol. He said the only study I really have on that was a Yale study of veterans that found the magical plant caused exaggeration of the PS, or what they call it, PTSD. So here's my take on that part. They saying that the magical plant caused exaggeration of the PTSD. So if you ask me, it depends on what they was on. And opposite, and I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I heard somewhere on my path that veterans were supposed to tote more of like indica. They say you can't call nothing indica, it's sativa no more because it's supposed to be hybrid and blah blah blah. Whatever effect it lean more toward, they have their own categories of effect. As in indica is supposed to be, more a body blaze, you know, calm you down, rest you, and sativa can have you racing. It can have you racing. It is it can have you speeding, but it can have you creative. It can have you focused because it's cerebral, and it all depends on one, the grade of the bud, meaning if it was taken early, then it's gonna be real racy. On top of being a sativa, it's gonna be real racing, and you might experience a lot of paranoia. And that's with somebody without PTSD. So if it'll create paranoia and stuff like that in a regular person, then it'll create the same thing in somebody who's been through something traumatizing, warfare, battles. But so that's when, if I'm looking more like 30 years into the future now, 25 years into the future, I'm gonna try that. As far as medical won't even be a flower anymore. Medical, they're gonna extract, they're gonna extract the glass, what we call it, the magical glass domes, aka trikes. They're gonna extract trikes, and they're gonna extract cannabinoids. I don't know if I can say that word on here, but I said, but they're gonna extract all of those and gonna concentrate it. And gonna concentrate it, put it in a pill form, and there goes the flower on a medicinal side. But that just come as my take on them saying it caused exaggeration of PTSD. All right. They became using more alcohol and actually started using more opiates. He said. He said opies. We're gonna call them opies. He said they became more. They started using more alcohol and more opiates. So here's my thing on this. What you mean more? So they was already on them, right? Because they ain't just start using them. They started using more. So pay attention to the language. It's something that was already on. And I'm pretty sure it was something they had a high dependency for already. And if you want to just blindly say that, well, I guess he's still talking about what was said in the Yale study. I give them more respect than him saying something. But I'm still gonna go at that. I've seen plenty tests where opioid use decrease. Matter of fact, 99% of the tests I ever seen where this was two topics. Opies, we're gonna call them opies, we say. Opies and yeah, man. I got our first live interruption. First live interruption. You know what I'm saying? So but the studies I seen where they compared the magical plant to opies, the opie uses decrease. And it almost was being used as something that can take people out of opiates. So this is my first time actually seeing them flip the script like that. But I've been reading everything now. I'm about to start picking what I want to read. Let's see what they saying. See what they saying. I say Hall responded Hall. All right, yeah, I think we rock with Hall, huh? All right. Well, she asked whether Hall had any information comparing the magical plant to alcohol, especially amongst the youngsters, saying that she believed that substituting the magical plant for the booze had the potential to reduce overall harm. Say Hall responded by pointing to evidence of the magical plant's use on the developing brain, but did not speak to the effects of the booze. So let's go. Let's see what it agrees at. Let's see what. All right. My point. This was Johnson explaining. No, all right. I gotta read something else Hall say, man, because that he popping. He said, I think we ought to ban tobacco. Hall said. Hey, bro, that's how I be feeling, bro. 'Cause I was like, man, you gonna ban the magical plant, man? Let's just ban everything, man. If we want to talk about the kids' safety and stuff like that, man. All right, I agree to ban everything: tobacco, the booze, and the magical plant. Let's ban everything. We just gonna live righteous, and if you're according to your definition, and we gonna move forward. They say right, the kids. Man, let's take off this tobacco stuff. Let's take off this booze. Man, let's just clean it up for the kids. You know what I'm saying? So that's my whole case. You ain't gonna do that. So once you agree to not do that, then everything you said about the public and the safety and all that go out the window. Cause I just gave you the top alternative, the top option, if that's how you feel. But that's not how you feel. That's just what you using to brain screw the people. You know what I'm saying? Poking the people in the head with a long one, brain screwing them. But he say this instrument. Who say this? Let me get back to the names. My point is this bill is not really about for or against, noting that it would merely establish a tax that would fund public education if legalization eventually does occur. So yeah, we're gonna play to the education. You want to play to this and play to that, we're gonna play. We're gonna make you go against the education. You want to talk to kids, so we're gonna make you go against helping the education system. But basically, like this instrument is simply if the will of the people were to move forward, a tax would be levied on that product, he said. Basically, like if it happens, man, we ready. Like basically, like what's the worst that can happen than being unprepared? Like this bill can't be worse than being unprepared. You know what I'm saying? So it's a House Bill 3 was 636 was intended to work in tandem with a separate bill from Representative Newell, House Bill 627, which will create a 3-year pilot program that is designed to test and evaluate parameters of the the implementation of a permanent adult use magical plant program. All right, so House Bill 627 would have created a 3-year pilot program that is designed to test and evaluate parameters of implementation of a permanent adult use system. So I like her, man. Who is this? Candace Newell. So she like, man, look, let's just put a test hit program. Let's just test hit legalization, man. Y'all here with that bull, man. Let's just test hit good old legalization. So what to say? Aside of just wanting to have legalized recreational magical plant, I'm also looking at another revenue source in the state. I'm talking about statewide, across the board, education on the product, the use of the product, the dangers of it, and how it can be beneficial. You know what I'm saying? She said, I'm talking about everything, man. Y'all don't want to talk about nothing. Y'all in here talking this and talking that, but really ain't saying nothing. You know what I'm saying, man? Shout out to the lady, man. Sometimes you need women to go say stuff, because, the women be fiery, man. The women be fiery. The men be egos and machos and gang, and I hope I can even say that on here, but she on point. But she's saying Louisiana Department of Health will be responsible for overseeing the pilot program, which will be designed to evaluate potential challenges, limitations, and risks that could arise before a potential permanent rollout. You know what I'm saying? So she like, man, so people coming up with logical ways to help the state, and I was putting together a mock. You know how you hear about, man, if you get 1 million signatures, you can get a bill passed. You know how you hear stuff like that. Well, I I found out that all states don't do that, and that state Louisiana, this state Louisiana, I'm just gonna record like I'm on a deserted island, man. I'm gonna record like I'm in space, man, and Louisiana over there. That's how I'm gonna record. I might just make up some shit like I moved, man. Like, man, yeah, recording from Indiana. Just pick another prohibition state. Yeah, man, I done moved to Mississippi, dog. Yeah, man, tripping over there in Louisiana. I'ma just, as you know what I'm saying. So for this line, just know, man, I'm out of state somewhere, man. So basically, she coming up with the plan. She coming up with the plan. Say the idea would be to provide an opportunity to gather real-time feedback and data to assess the effectiveness of the temporary pilot program and potential permanent program, as well as identifying any unintended consequences. Like, man, shout out to this lady, bro. She on the right path. She on the right path. But what they saying now? Only existing medical magical plant dispensaries that were licensed as of August 1st, 2022 in select regions would be eligible to participate in the pilot program. So now she went back Louisiana. I guess that's how you got elected in Louisiana. You got to play the Louisiana games. So, if you're going back to who was licensed as of August 1st, 22, that's when it's gonna be shark infested waters. That's that money who know when something gonna happen before it happens. And that's that money that being circled to be like, man, look, they're gonna do this on around about this time. So you be ready to do this. So that's basically all the grandfathered in companies. So all the new people, like if they was to pass minority bills and stuff like that, I don't even think we got a minority bill or nothing like that. See, everything that's done around the world, like even I don't know what they call it, but like even if you've been convicted of cannabis, you've been, because basically like it's legal, and if you did time for it, man, that's cold blooded. So we gonna give you something like, but then I heard is I don't know what they call it the felon program. I don't know what they call it, but then I heard that then they throw all the other stipulations in there like, oh, you had to been in business for 5 years. You had to show that your business this ain't got nothing to do with the magical plant. You know, but they saying in order for you to even get this grant, if you was like a criminal convicted of the magical plant, it's like you still had to have a business for like 5 years. I'm just quoting this myself off of what I remember. But like you still gotta have a business for 5 years, and the business gotta have X amount of money, and you know what I'm saying. So they still even got in the way of what people who was for the people that was harmed behind it. They still got in the way of them reaping the benefits. So but we can get off of that where we was at that took us there. Oh, they saying the grandfathered in. Yeah, I went on a rant. But they talking about them grandfathered in. If you was licensed as of August 1st, 2022, in select regions, will be able to participate in the pilot program. But the only thing about it, I think that bill got shut down too. But I'm gonna see what happened with it. It say the bill filings come nearly a year after Louisiana's governor signed bills to decriminalize the magical plant paraphernalia and enact restrictions on the hemp market. It say the same day. You see, that was just to clean it up. Like, all right, I'll decriminalize paraphernalia. You see how dumb that sounds? You saying you'll decriminalize. You see how they trying to pass some of the laws, but not the law. You get what I'm saying? They try to pass some of the laws around the world, but they're not trying to pass the law. See, like, oh yeah, I decriminalize paraphernalia behind the magical plant, but on the same day, he vetoed a measure that would have allowed him and future governors to issue pardons for people with past cannabis convictions. You know what I'm saying? So why would you veto a measure that just would have allowed you and future governors to issue pardons for people with past magical plant convictions? So it's like, how can an active governor touch something that won't allow a future governor to do something? See, that's the part that always threw me off when they be like that back, even when it happened, it was like the measure would have allowed him and future governors to issue pardons, would have allowed him and future governors to issue pardons for people convicted with past magical plant convictions. Like, what you got to do with the future governor? Like, you got to be on some real code. You got to be playing some kind of chess style game for the long haul. You looking out into the long haul, like you don't even have that control. See, that's when you can tell people ain't truly for the people, because they try to make it to where even the future people can't change nothing. Just from him coming in office. And if I remember, y'all, that was one of like the lowest voter turnouts, bro. That the dude won governor with like such a low percentage of the population voting for him. Like, it's crazy. So it show you how like them state elections. I can't say nothing about the top election, but them state elections, boy, they be changing some stuff, bro. But a lot of it be based out on off on turnout, because our people been at like 13% since forever. Like, for some reason we just lingering around that magical 13% of the population. Like, can't never get to 20. But you know what I'm saying? That's for another day. But the population really ain't even vote for him. But he trying to change stuff that the next man could do. But he said, as it stands, we could possess up to a half a zip of cannabis, punishable. I done said the word. We can hold up to about a half a zip of the magical plant, and it's punishable by $100 fine without the threat of incarceration. But the former governor signed a law and measure that was designed to streamline expungements for people with first-time possession of the magical plant. But there's just some bills that just came through Louisiana, man. Louisiana had a chance to make it happen, had a chance to make it pop, but it went how it went. But you know, man, it's cold name, man. We done dropped the first live in the building, and I can roll with what we did, man. I'm just gonna press this button, says code name, man, and I'm gonna holler at you. One.
It's cold in the water. It's cold in the water.
I think we all need to grow our own fruit, bro. I think growing your own fruit makes you appreciate this creation and be a part of this creation. You'll never catch me in life eating a tomato, bro, for breakfast, G. You'll never catch me eating a tomato for breakfast, man, but I grew this tomato. Tastes pretty good. And that's another thing when you grow your own stuff. You swear to everything.
It's cold in the water.